breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
President Trump set to sue the government over the 2022 Mar-a-Lago raid, which resulted in the federal case involving his classified documents. Fox Business's Lydia Hu is here with more. Lydia.
Good morning there, Cheryl. Former President Donald Trump is putting the government on notice. He plans to sue them for $100 million over the Mar-a-Lago raid from 2 years ago and the prosecution of the documents case that followed. Now, in this notice that he filed with the government just last week, Trump accuses the Department of Justice and the FBI of invasion of privacy, malicious prosecution, and abuse of process. Trump's lawyers talked to Fox Business, saying the government's goal was to keep Trump from running for office again.
We have a word for that gets thrown around a lot, but in this case is very accurate and precise: election interference. And that's what President Trump believes the entire special counsel investigation was about: interfering with his ability to get elected.
Now, Trump's lawyer raises a number of issues in this notice. One is the way in which the search warrant was executed, and a total surprise, which they say violated established protocol. The lawyer points to testimony from a former FBI assistant director who said agents should have first sought Trump's consent, offered notice to Trump's lawyers, and invited cooperation. They also cite internal FBI emails to show agents questioned whether there was the required probable cause to support the search. And Trump's lawyers argue that Attorney General Merrick Garland should have known that Trump would have immunity and that Jack Smith cannot be appointed special counsel, which we now know is the very reason why Judge Cannon dismissed the documents case. The Department of Justice declined to comment, but now the government has 6 months to decide whether to settle Trump's claim for that $100 million. And if they don't, Trump could sue the government and seek that money.
Checkmate. It's absolute checkmate by Donald Trump. I'm here to tell you why. A lot of people are going to tell you about the filing, and they're saying he's going after $100 million. There's going to be a bunch of people who say, oh, it's a frivolous lawsuit, but it's not. And here's why. As you notice, the lady said, they've got 6 months to respond. So you've got 6 months to decide whether or not you answer the lawsuit or you pay the man. Those are your only two choices. You probably try to get it dismissed, but in any event, you got pay the man, or over here you've got fight the lawsuit. The timing of this lawsuit is what's most important. The timing of this lawsuit, which people aren't talking about, which I'm going to tell you right now, which I'm sure some of you may be thinking, 6 months? They've got 6 months to respond? So here's what's going to happen. They laid out their case. They put it all out there in the open, most of it out there in the open. Now, Trump is letting them know, I'm going to sue you for $100 million. The timing of his lawsuit isn't by accident. As we begin to get in the heat of the election season right now, and everybody's always wondering what the October surprises are going to be, Trump's about to go into the Willy Wonka of surprises and pull out whatever he wants. By suing the Department of Justice, he is going to have access to everything that they did in regards to putting, the raid on and going after him for this crock that Jack Smith was. All set up by the Supreme Court giving him immunity, and now it's his turn to play. It's a complete turnaround. Now you're on the defense. Now you're the people who are going to have to put up or shut up. Now I'm coming after you. Donald Trump goes on this big interview tonight with Elon Musk, which I hope you join me for here at 7:30 tonight. But it's incredible when you look at the timing of what's about to happen. So now he's put them on notice. There's really no defense. Jack Smith has been determined to be an illegally appointed, unconstitutionally appointed special counsel. So you're already been slapped by the judge. Oh, and it's going to be held in Florida, not Washington, D.C. So he's going to get another judge. They're in big trouble. And the big, giant caveat in all of this, I want you to really focus in on this. What happens in 6 months? Well, likely there's an inauguration. And when that inauguration comes, and hopefully I believe it's going to be Donald Trump who's in charge of the Department of Justice. Donald Trump has put himself in a position where he can pay himself $100 million. I don't think many people are talking about that right now, and I don't think they realize it, is that if you guys choose to wait and not fight, I'm good with that. We'll see what happens. I might be the president, probably will be the president, and if I'm not, I can still take you to court. But if I am inaugurated on, in January of 2025, guess what? I'm going to take over the Department of Justice, and whoever I put in as the Attorney General, as soon as they get in, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to dismiss the charge, and they're going to pay Trump $100 million or more. Now, knowing Trump, he'll give it away. Knowing Trump, I bet you he just says, here, I didn't want it. I just wanted to prove a point. But you're going to have to pay this man. There's no doubt that you're one way or the other, whether you settle it or if he becomes president and he's in charge of his own lawsuit. Can you possibly imagine that happening? It is the ultimate checkmate. There was a guy I knew once a long time ago, and he had a business partner who was pissing him off. And he knew that this guy was kind of in financial straits. And so he approached the guy's bank, bought this guy's mortgage, and then kicked him out his own house. It was amazing. This reminds me of that kind of a situation. You came after me. You did whatever you did to me, my family, my friends, my business associates. And now I'm coming for you. And I'm coming for you hard to the tune of $100 million plus. And if I get elected, I'm guaranteed that lottery at the end of this lawsuit. No one's going to be saying that because they're like, he couldn't possibly do that, could he? Well, who do you think he's going after? He's going after Mayor Garland, who won't have a job come, January and February of next year. He'll be gone. Christopher Wray, you won't have a job when he comes back in January. He's going to run the Department of Justice. It will be his people. And people are going to complain, separation of church and state and the different branches of the government. You ruined that. You guys opened up a Pandora's box, and now you can't close it. All of these things that you've weaponized against Donald Trump, guess what? It turns around in January. That's why they're so afraid of Donald Trump getting back in office. It has nothing to do with this Project 2025 BS. It has nothing to do with the end of democracy. What it has to do with, oh my God, my ass is in a sling here, and if this guy gets back into the presidency, we're all going to hang, as Hillary Clinton once said. He gave Hillary a pass. He told her, I'm not going to go after you. I wouldn't count on it this time. You took a shot at him. Oh, Barry, this was some kid. Some 20-year-old kid. That was his problem. It wasn't Trump. I mean, it wasn't anyone, Biden or anybody. Okay. Good. You have at that. We'll continue with the Secret Service investigation. Oh, by the way, he'll be running that too. These snakes, this group of scummy people will have nowhere to hide. That's what they're freaking out about. They are terrified. So let's take a look at this lawsuit so I can show you this. Trump to sue DOJ for $100 million over Mar-a-Lago raid alleging political persecution. Trump attorney says it was unconstitutional. Notice he said unconstitutional. Why? Because by triggering the unconstitutionality of everything, the ultimate decider of this, if it goes to court, would be the Supreme Court. And sitting back is Clarence Thomas going, bring this. We're gonna love doing this. All right, so let's continue. I got some things highlighted here for you. Former President Donald Trump is set to sue the Justice Department for $100 million in damages over the government's unprecedented 2022 raid on Mar-a-Lago, with his lawyers arguing it was clear intent to engage in political persecution. So now will come the lawsuit and then the depositions and everything that goes along with it. Notice what they've quoted here, too. The memo claims tortious conduct by the United States against President Trump. That's quoted. So what they're saying in this lawsuit is tortious interference against President Trump. It didn't say former President Trump. So pretty much what they're going to allege is that there were things going on before he left office. That is extremely key. Lawyers don't make that kind of mistake. When they're filing the paperwork, they're not going to make that kind of mistake unless they intend to show something while he was president. That is huge. Continues down here. Trump and his legal team intend to sue the Justice Department for its conduct during the raid amid the federal investigation into his alleged improper retention of classified records. They're screwed. After the raid, Jack Smith was appointed to investigate. Smith ultimately brought 37 felony counts against Trump, including willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and false statements. Trump pleaded not guilty to all counts, and as you know, the entire case was dismissed. When you're filing a lawsuit and that lawsuit gets dismissed, now you come back after the person who tried to put you in jail. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed Smith's case against Trump altogether. Cannon ruled that Smith was unlawfully appointed and funded, citing the appointment clause in the Constitution. Again, she made it a constitutional aspect of this entire thing. That's key, because if they want to appeal it and go different places, it's gonna end back up at SCOTUS. Trump attorney Daniel Epstein filed a notice to sue the Justice Department. The Justice Department has 180 days from the date of receipt to respond to Epstein's notice and come to a resolution. If no resolution is made, Trump's case will move to the federal court in the Southern District of Florida. Boom, down here. That's where you're going to fight it. You're going to fight it not in D.C., where you're going to get some favorable liberal judge. You're going to fight it down here in South Florida. And you got 180 days, so you can start counting. This thing was filed, and it is August 12th, so right after the inauguration, you're going to have to, do something. Or not, depending on who's running the investigation. Let's continue down here. What President Trump is doing here is not just standing up for himself. He is standing up for all Americans who believe in the rule of law and believe that you should hold the government accountable when it wrongs you, his attorney said. So what he's doing here now is laying out a case that's going to allow him to dig into the government legally, mine into their files. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. If they respond and come back with some BS, or try to make things look like they're not, when he gets elected, he'll also see if they fudge the numbers. Meaning, did they do something with the evidence? The Pandora's box that they created is now going to be in the hands of Donald Trump when he gets elected in January. I don't think you guys, possibly you guys, but I don't think a lot of people realize the impact of what just happened. This is, in essence, a divorce where in a couple months, the spouse is going to be able to get all of the files, everything on the guy that was trying to divorce her. Everything. I don't know who's going to be the attorney general. I can imagine who he may pick. But this person and his staff will have access to everything that Jack Smith did. So probably they're going to have a shredding party sometime in January before he takes election if he wins in November. Because right now he's got them at a point where it truly is checkmate. You can make it go away and pay me $100 million now, and that would settle the case if Trump accepts it, or we go to court after I get elected and we run the show. Brilliance. Absolute. When I saw this hit the news today, and by the way, just to let you know, this is going to be a short show. I'm going to begin doing breaking news as it happens type things in addition to my longer shows in the evening. By the way, tonight, 7:30 p.m., the interview the world is waiting for, what will probably break the internet, and this time it's not hyperbole, is when Donald Trump and Elon Musk get together and talk about this. But back to this story here. So, I found this by Julie Kelly, who's been amazing in covering this case. The Biden White House, including his general counsel and chief of staff, colluded with NRA officials to first concoct a records destruction case, then moved to classified docs after Trump produced 15 boxes to NARA in January 2022. You see how far-reaching this is going to be? Notice the first name she put there was Biden. They have opened themselves up to something that at this point, I think they do know. That's why they are freaking out. Biden's DOJ took it from NARA, advising NARA how to draft its first ever of only criminal referral to Merrick Garland. So they showed them, here, do this so that we can go get Trump. And he's going to have access to all this information. Despite Trump's cooperation with the FBI and DOJ, including Jay Bratt, who visited Mar-a-Lago in June 2022 with Trump's consent, and over the objections of FBI WFO Chief Steve D'Antuono, FBI brass authorized the armed raid. You remember, they went there with guns ready to do whatever they needed to do to take out Trump. Evidence disclosed during the proceedings showed agents were not informed of the scope of the warrant and violated the terms during the 9-hour raid. So they already know they have them. Like I said, this is checkmate at a very, very high level. Agents took personal items, and on at least 3 occasions, the filter team passed privileged records to the investigative team. They doctored evidence for media purposes. Remember, CNN met them at the raid, and then afterwards took pictures of these boxes that said, oh yeah, this is classified, confidential records, and there was nothing in them. They just did it for the media. Then mishandled and possibly misplaced files afterwards. And then they also went through Melania's underwear drawer. I mean, it was just, these people are scum. They're absolute scum. And the upside to this lawsuit is it will be handled in Florida, not the sinkhole of the D.C. federal courthouse. They're toast. This thing is a landmine, and it's a landmine going forward because of what it's going to mean down the road and for the foreseeable future during the election. They weren't prepared for this. They probably thought it was coming. They didn't think it would be coming now in August. Now, here we go. You've taken everything, every shot literally possible at me. You've brought me to my knees. I jumped back up, and I told you we're going to fight. And now he's out there doing it, and he's letting all of us know he's ready to fight. And I got to say something. One of the things that pisses me off lately, I'm getting a lot of comments on Twitter from people who are like, Kamala's winning. Trump's not, he's not really campaigning, and he's going to take 2 weeks off. You're falling for the BS. I would like to use a stronger word. I don't want to offend anybody. You're falling for the BS. This woman doesn't have a shot. I'm going to do another video at 2 o'clock. I'm going to talk about her stealing the no tax on tips thing. I'm going to get into it and show you why. They're all full of it. Absolutely full of it. Don't give into it. If you can't stop yourselves from giving into it, don't watch it. It is doing exactly what it's intended to do, to just basically gaslight you to the point where you start doubting things. I have a strong conviction. I even watch this stuff, but I know what to look for and go, man, that's BS. Oh, that's BS. And we can put the side-by-side videos where you can see they lie here and then say this here. They will say anything they possibly can to get you to think that everything is going Kamala's way, when it isn't. This guy Walz is a time bomb for the entire Democrat Party. I don't think they can get rid of him, because what are they going to do? And now what I'm going to tell you at 2 o'clock is going to be something else. You're going to go, oh my God, she can't be that stupid. No, she is that stupid. That is why they are hiding her. But in any event, what Trump just did, by putting this lawsuit out there against the DOJ, against Merrick Garland, against Christopher Wray, he has put them in an unwinnable position. You have to see it for what it is. Understand that you're watching a huge chess match happening in front of you, and that right now it's a do or die for the Department of Justice. Pay me now or pay me later. Either way, you're going to pay me. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Well, yeah, let me make sure this comment comes up. Melania should sue them for invading her home. No doubt. No doubt. Maybe she brings something out as well. Barry, you are 100% right. Well, thank you for that. I would like to see Bongino in there somewhere as well. Maybe as a Secret Service guy. Yeah, exactly. The polls are intended to manipulate. I did a show on the polls Friday. Every Friday I'm going to go through the polls all over again. And this Friday is no exception. We will go through the polls, and I'm going to show you some more data that says what Kate here says is completely true. It's fake. Everything is fake. Everything. Barry, they are saying that Kamala is ahead because they plan on stealing the election. If they don't put that she's close or ahead, they know people would not believe she won. I know a lot of people are saying that as well. Let me close the short video today by talking about that. We all know that they have done things in the past. But here's where the problem is. Virginia just went to paper ballots, and they purged their rolls. Going to be very hard, very, very, very hard to cheat. Georgia just lopped off 150,000 dead people, otherwise known as Democrat voters, off their rolls. What was the other state? Michigan just lopped off 26,000 people off their rolls. The states are beginning to see what they're having to do. She can't win if she loses Pennsylvania, it's over. Even though Pennsylvania is trying to set it up like they're going to do something. One of the things I heard Laura Trump said is they have 170,000 poll workers set to go to these locations. Even though Pennsylvania said we may not be able to release the results for a week or two or whatever. What happens if we win Virginia? I showed you on the map. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the polling show I did. But I show you the different scenarios if they lose this or win this and different things of this nature. It is still Trump's race to lose. And I don't think he's gonna fumble the ball with the way things are going. It is going to be extremely hard for them to do anything like they did in 2020. Now, what I think they're thinking is, and both Jamie Raskin and now Biden yesterday have both intimated that they're not giving up the ship if Trump wins. That their thought is doing something else. I don't know, don't want to speculate, but they're hinting that they're going to do something. All I'm saying to you, and I'll continue this in the polling show on Friday, is when you're winning, you don't take the actions and you don't act like they're acting. They've put a full court press on Trump, and no, they haven't. They've put a full court press on you. They've put a full court press on the Trump voters to make them think it's not possible that he can win. We all know that he can. And hopefully you guys start understanding, if you have any doubts, that you're being gaslit. I have two things for you that can tell you how badly you're being gaslit. Well, actually three. One, I don't care who she's paying to get to these rallies. Doesn't matter. And people are comparing it and saying she's out there, ads are running. Doesn't matter. He did a phone call with Aiden Ross, or rather an interview, 100 million, 200 million views. He's going to do this thing tonight with Elon Musk, which could be 200 million views. She can't touch those numbers. She can't possibly, with any ad she runs, get to that many people. It's impossible. I was in advertising a long time. In order to reach that many people with a captive audience for an entire hour, you cannot do that. People are going to be clicking off. They're not going to be watching. So it's a crock. It's an absolute crock. Dead voters. Ka-ching. Great news for Trump. I hope you guys like these things. I'm going to be doing these quick hits, 25, 30 minutes max, when I get some breaking news like that, and then the longer ones at night. So, I hope you guys will definitely tune in. Don't forget, 2:00 p.m. tonight, I'm going to go live with all about Kamala and what happened over the weekend, and then 7:30 tonight. But I wanted to get this to you. Big $100 million lawsuit Trump is taking on the DOJ, FBI, the Biden administration. They're in deep poop. Skid marks in the underwear. It's happening. Talk to you at 2 o'clock. Join me at 2 o'clock.